special episode of my stream. I am going to be playing a little bit of the classic arcade game Donkey Kong, which I'm sure many of you know well. What many of you probably also know is that Donkey Kong is a pretty difficult game. They definitely scaled the difficulty back for the console adaptation, so like if you played the Game Boy one, not too bad. Still challenging, but not too bad on these opening levels. But the classic arcade game is maniacally difficult, so I thought I might share with you some of my DK-related wisdom. Or at least try to demonstrate some DK-related wisdom at any rate. Alright. Okay, so for our first trick, the object of this part of the game, let me pause it for a second here. The object of this part of the game is to get rid of all of the yellow pegs that you can see there on the screen. On each beam of the tower that you're climbing, there are 2 yellow pegs. And as soon as you get rid of all of them, the tower will collapse and Donkey Kong will go down with it. But the trick here, though, is that as you are playing this level, you'll notice these red flame men popping up. And you can, however, eliminate those flame men by way of mashing them with a hammer. But as soon as you take one out, it will regenerate on another part of the screen. And these flame men are very tricky to deal with because their movement is very erratic. But what I have found to be the best method is to do what I am going to try to demonstrate right here. So it's to take out the bottom peg, skip the one above that, take out the one above that, and the one above that. So as you notice on the left side, there's only one peg. And then here, I want to grab the hammer, walk across this peg, and mash all of the flames. And in doing this, you'll notice in a second here that the flames will regenerate. Should see the first. Okay, so see that first flame on the left there regenerate? But the trouble for that flame is that it's regenerated on a side where there is no good way out. Because they can't cross over the gap that I've left in the beams by taking out all those pegs on the left side. So by leaving that one peg after taking all the other remaining pegs on the left side and walking across with it with the hammer ensures that all of the flames that you mash will reincarnate on the left side where they'll then be trapped, leaving you free to finish the level without having to deal with those pesky flames, which, as I said, are very difficult. On these barrel levels, especially in the beginning here, I find that the best strategy is to just try to get through the level as fast as you can, because the longer you take getting to the top, the more barrels you're going to have to deal with coming down at you. And the barrels are very hard to dodge. There's a notoriously long response time for every movement that you make in this game. It was very fast for the time, but by today's standards, it's very slow. So you need to always be thinking at least a few steps ahead. So there's a few ways to deal with this level. We call this elevators. One way is to not do that, because that will lead to your death. But one way is to try to make that jump from the elevator to the highest beam, and that's the fastest way that you can get through the level. However, it's also probably the most dangerous. As you saw, I often don't make that jump. So I often go about doing it this way. Fortunately for me, the springs always come by in the exact same pattern, so I don't need to worry about them appearing in a place that I'm not expecting. So I can basically just stand here, wait for that to pass by, walk over to this part, wait for another one to pass by, climb up here. So that series of movements is how you deal with the top level of the beams on elevators. Otherwise, you'll get hit by one of those springs. Okay, and we're going to use the same technique here that we did earlier. It's a little bit more risky each time you do it because the flames spawn faster. So you want to make sure that you don't get caught like I am here. And part of it comes down to luck, so like you'll see that I'm not able to climb my ladder with this hammer, so I have 3, and I'm not able to jump with my hammer either. So I have all these flames that I was not able to crush with my hammer, which is unfortunate. So hopefully I'll be able to... Oh, shoot. Hopefully I'll be able to fix that in a minute here. They do give us another chance here with this hammer. So good. So all those flames that I just conquered... Dang it. All those flames that I just conquered spawned on the left side and are trapped there, which is good for me. So now I should just be able to take this one. As you see, one thing you've probably noticed is that we keep replaying a lot of the same levels over again, and that's because the way that the American version of Donkey Kong is set up is such that... One second here. The way that the American version of Donkey Kong is set up is such that each new level is introduced in a different rotation of the game. So the first time you play through the entire game, first level and last level with the pegs, you only play this level with the barrels and then the level with the pegs. The second time they add the elevators. The third time they'll add the pie factory, which you'll see in a second here. So the pie factory is actually the second level of Donkey Kong. But you don't see it in the American version until you've already beaten the game twice. And then on the third time, you get this. So the way that I usually deal with Pie Factory is I'll try to let as many of those flames appear on the left side as possible. And then I'll make my way up, oops, on this side. Get to the top. Now I'm done with this level. This one's a little bit easier than some of the others, a little less tricky, but it can be a bit deceptive, so you need to be careful. Okay, so we're back on this. And same technique here that we used last time. Okay, I'm gonna... didn't have quite enough time. It is very difficult to make that initial jump. So this is just like it was last time, except a bit faster. So you want to be careful not to find yourself in the wrong place at the wrong time. But you can still use the exact same movement pattern. Oh, shoot. I moved from my spot too early. But you can use the exact same movement pattern to get through it. So, here. Okay. So I should be more successful this time through. So you can see Mario's pretty limited in his ability to jump. He can't jump super high. Oh man, I'm really not doing a good, putting my best foot forward here. Okay, I'll get it this time. Generally, I do much better on this level. I'm not sure. I think I'm psyching myself out a little bit because I've been playing this on one of the harder rotations. There we go. Yeah, Mario cannot jump as high as you might be accustomed to in other games involving Mario. And in fact, in the Game Boy version of Donkey Kong, Mario is given a extra high jump, a double jump, to make the game much easier than it is here. As you can see, I'm using the same technique that I did the other 2 times it was through here. Okay. So these guys are going to dance around up here, much to my chagrin. I want to make sure that I time everything perfectly so that I do not end up on the wrong side of one of those flames. I have no more lives left. Slight variation on the theme each time you run through the game. Okay, so this is our 4th time through, and as you'll notice here, you need to be careful. You actually need to jump over the blue barrel when it lands. The first throw is the first pitch by Donkey Kong is always the same. Everything else is very random. I like to grab the hammer when I get to one of the harder rotations of this level because it can be very tricky to dodge these barrels. And then you just do what we've learned. And we're back to the pie factory. Stupid flame. Sometimes those flames just appear at the wrong place, but fortunately I lucked out. Crept over to the other side. Okay, I'm back at elevators. This is the moment. Oh no, I've forgotten that once you're on your 4th time through, they switch back to barrels between each level. So, just to add a little bit of an extra challenge for the player. And it's going faster and faster. Oh, shoot. Okay. So, what I'm going to show you now is... This is the elevator level. I don't know where my sound went, but this is the elevator level on the 4th rotation through. So if I had beaten that level back there, this is where I would be. And the big difference between this elevator level and the first 2 is that on this elevator level, the springs... Shoot, I hit the flame. The springs do not always move in the same... do not follow the same pattern. So you need to be much more careful when navigating, especially on the top there. It gets very, very tricky. But here, you're down here, you have a little bit of time to see where they're going. Don't have that luxury on top. Okay. So now, I'm here. I'm going to be extra careful. And this is a very tricky part. Didn't make it. This is my, this often is my ceiling, this level right here. But if I'm lucky, I might be able to make it through. Okay. All right, moment of truth here. Right, tricky and more tricky. There we go. All right, so that's how you do that. Just gotta time it even better than you do on the normal rotation so that you're walking across the beam just as that spring is going over your head, following it onto the further onto that platform. And as you can see, I'm using the same pattern, except, yeah, same pattern. Hopefully I'm able to take out a lot of flames and see them respawn as my prisoner is over there on the left side. Unfortunately, it looks like I just got 2, which might not be good enough. We'll see. Oh, shoot. All right, so I was done in by that level. But anyways, what you'll see is that the game continues to repeat itself every time you go through, often changing things up a little bit, alternating between the barrel levels and then the other levels, the pie factory, the elevators, and the pegs. And you just keep going and going and going until you either die or hit the kill screen. I've never seen a Donkey Kong kill screen in my life, but I know that it is possible to break the game if you play long enough. It is designed to be endless, but all of these classic arcade games did have a point where you could go no further. So, that was my demonstration of how to play Donkey Kong. Not a great Donkey Kong player, but I am a good Donkey Kong player. I think that I do a little better than maybe your average person who wanders into an arcade. I think a typical game of Donkey Kong might last only a few, less than a minute, because it is a very challenging game. You have to take a lot of things into account. You need to always be thinking a few moves ahead, and you need to have good reflexes. So I think it continues to be a strong classic arcade game. And I hope that if you see a cabinet somewhere, you will play it, because it probably won't be around for that much longer, because it is an old game. I will now be transitioning to another platformer, one that I like very much, that also has some random elements in it, called Spelunky. And I'll have that in just one moment here.